Happy Monday, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to Hot News. We've got some stuff in store for you today in the order of news that's hot. Sometimes we're a day late and a dollar short, but regardless, Hot News is here. You know what else is here? Our website, UFD Deals, where you can save money. Why wouldn't you want to save money? Especially if you're buying a new computer part or a bunch of new computer parts. Go to UFD Deals, check them out. We have everything sorted to find the best deals on the internet today so that you can save money. We make money through affiliate codes and everybody is a happy camper with a new PC. I get new PCs just because, you know, the whole YouTube thing, but that's neither here nor there. What is here is me moving on to the actual topics of today's video, which first up, we're going to talk about how Nvidia is just beating itself in the weirdest, well, oof, that could be a weird statement for people to interpret. But either way, Nvidia really feels like they have been able to do what they're doing right now. They just chose not to because they had no competition from AMD, but that is the super class GPUs. We should be getting the 2080 Super unveiled tomorrow. And one of the big things is that there is now some benchmarks leaking out. And what we see is that it's a roughly 8 to 10% increase over the RTX 2080, which doesn't seem like a great jump, but it is only 10 months later that we are getting this GPU. 10 months? 11 months later. So it's not even a full year. We're seeing an 8 to 10% increase. This is not based on any architectural improvements, but rather them just kind of increasing the core counts and just being like, here, this is what we should have given you last year, August, when we launched the RTX 2080 Super. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be dropping the price by $100, so you can have that too. And one of the weird things is that the $100 price bump or $100 price drop, I'm used to saying bump with Nvidia, seems to also be coming on the Founders Edition. That is crazy. That's just crazy because they said that the MSRP of the RTX 2080 was $800, and it appears that the MSRP of the 2080 Super is $699, which is the exact same price as what the 1080 Ti was. And this could also be one of the reasons why AMD decided to cancel production of the Radeon 7, not just because Navi, at least the 5700 XT, was kind of encroaching on the Radeon 7's performance a little bit, especially for costing half the price, but also because the Radeon 7 just cannot compete against a 2080 Super at the same price point. It's just impossible. They couldn't have competed against the RTX 2080 at the same price point. So the Super coming in and kind of making its headway and kind of ruining everything for AMD makes the Radeon 7 obsolete now. Sad. But the big thing is that at least in the benchmark that is out right now, which is Final Fantasy 15, which is not a good benchmark for AMD, but it is a pretty good benchmark from comparing Nvidia to Nvidia, what we see is that the 2080 Super is just a couple points below the Titan V, which is crazy because that retailed for $3,000 just a few years ago. So we've seen not only just regular gaming performance matching a $3,000 Titan card from a $3,000 Titan card from a few years ago, but also it has more features than that Titan card did, including more DLSS and ray tracing cores. It's kind of like Nvidia really has brought innovation in a weird way if you compare it to Volta, but not if you compare it to Pascal. We're not seeing a great, like the 2080 Super should have been the replacement for the 1080 Ti that we got, but instead we had to wait an extra year for that. It's a whole weird situation. Nvidia is competing against itself in the weirdest way. What's going on? 2080 Super, are you guys interested? Let me know down below. And then also another Nvidia news. They have apparently patched the Tegra exploit that was built into all Tegra chips ever, which was known as the self-blow exploit. That doesn't really go well with the beating itself thing, does it? This has been news for a while that there was an issue with the Tegra bootloader, that you could bypass it and there would be security exploits, which is one of the ways that the Nintendo Switch was originally hacked, but the bootloader on the Switch was a little different, so it's not exactly that way, but now they've officially patched the self-blow exploit in Tegra. Wow. Speaking of self-blowing, Intel. If we don't get demonetized on this, I don't know when we will. Intel is apparently trying to reach out to the community a bit more by beta testing some customer support threads over on Reddit. So if you have some issues with your Intel stuff, you can file a support thread on the Intel subreddit, which is cool. It's not really for lambasting them for having terribly priced CPUs, but in case your CPU no worky or your other things no worky, Intel Reddit thread. Get your support there, friends. And on Friday's episode of Hot News, we talked about how the trade war between Japan and South Korea was potentially going to lead to increases in DRAM prices and NAND flash prices, and me kind of advocating that you should buy it now. Well, it appears that it has hit hard in certain spots, with pricing, at least on wholesale pricing, spiking up 30% on DRAM. It hasn't necessarily made itself into the consumer market at this point. I checked PC part picker pricing, and it seems like most RAM kits are about the same, but at least in the next coming weeks, you're going to see a sharp increase, if not a long-term increase, at least a short-term increase to make up for this wholesale increase. 20%. Yikes. Links down below. You use UFD deals to get the best deals on RAM. You know you want it, just do it. And next, let's talk about a story that is still kind of developing. We talked about last week about how AMD was saying that they're gonna be rolling out a BIOS modification that makes sure that PCI Express 4.0 will not run on anything besides X570 motherboards. Asus kind of was like, we're doing it anyways, and they shipped that out. Well, it appears that another motherboard manufacturer is choosing to do that. This time it's BIOSTAR rolling out PCI Express 4.0 onto its 400 series motherboards, and seemingly not caring about what AMD wants. I do think that BIOSTAR was one of the last holdouts when it came to the Intel Skylake overclocking thing. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were one of the few who made sure that them and ASRock had the BIOSes that you needed to overclock properly on the Skylake non-K CPU. So it could be that they would fight AMD on this. We'll have to see. I expect Asus to kowtow as soon as the BIOS updates rolled out from AMD's side. So we'll find out about that. Then, do you care about phones? I know you do. You really want to. The Pixel 4, it's been leaked by Google themselves, but there appears to be a new indication that it's going to get one of the much highly anticipated things called a time of flight sensor, which is used for hand gesture control and gesture mapping because of how it just can track people's hands so that you can interact with your phone in a new way and not in the gimmicky way that Samsung used to do on their old Galaxy phones where it was supposedly tracked your eyeball. That sucked. Time of flight sensor, this is a new implementation. Hopefully it'll work. You can control your phone with hand gestures in a fun way. Speaking of fun ways, Kingdom Hearts VR experience. Part 2 is coming out, just so you know. It's gonna have Olympus Coliseum, in case anybody cares, July 24th. I like Kingdom Hearts stuff, so I just included it there. I don't care if you care, I care. Did you ever expect that Google was respecting your privacy? No? Oh, okay. Did you ever expect that they weren't respecting your children's privacy? Oh, well, that just came out because the FTC is fining Google multi-millions of dollars, that's not how you say that phrase, because it has been found in violation of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, because they are actually collecting data based from the YouTube Kids app, even though COPPA says that you can't collect data on anybody under 13. So it's not real clear how much the fine is or exactly what data was collected from them. However, I will say that we kind of need more details on this, because if this is used for the algorithm, it kind of makes sense that they would collect that data so that they show the kids what they want to see, and not in order to train an algorithm, you need the data. So the YouTube Kids app would suck if it didn't have data-based algorithms to kind of feed the next video, and it wouldn't keep kids on there as long, and it wouldn't get them addicted. I mean, come on, this is basic science. Children addicted to YouTube is what this world needs. Except for my kids, they're not on YouTube. So. And on Friday, the Netflix finally dropped a teaser trailer for The Witcher. This actually has me excited and slightly worried, but more excited than I was from the still images that came out. This feels like a slightly lower budget production of Game of Thrones based in a book series and game series that I actually care about, with a few weird things. There's some comments about how Triss is weird, and then there's other comments about what's wrong with Geralt's bicep? And I think it's probably because he used a potion or something, and we're seeing the aftermath of that because he also doesn't look good. Anyways, I'm excited. I'm gonna watch this when this comes out. Yay. And also, in case you were wondering, I'm sure you've seen the picture of Geralt in a bathtub, because that is what everybody uses as a thumbnail for talking about The Witcher 3. Well, somebody asked the showrunners, is there gonna be a bathtub scene? And they said yes, but we're not gonna tell you who it is. So hopefully it's Geralt, for meme purposes exclusively, not self-blowing purposes. Can you do sit-ups? Well, I'm gonna make you feel bad if you can't, because this paper doll can, due to a new type of artificial muscle that Chinese scientists are trying to develop. It's complicated. The paper is made out of a special type of chemical, and then they use ethanol vapors to kind of make it flex and sit up, and it's a weird little thing because they're trying to develop artificial muscles. They're studying contraction, expansion, and how you do the muscle stuff. And we also just passed the 50th anniversary of man landing on the moon, more specifically Americans landing on the moon. Suck it, rest of the world. Well, it appears that NASA's Orion crew capsule is finally ready for prepping for its first moon mission for us to go back to the moon since the first time since I think 1973. Anyways, man's been to the moon 6 or 7 times. My history is really bad. Everybody stopped caring after the first time. Don't treat me like I'm some sort of idiot here, okay? We all don't know. And if you do know, you're special, okay? But I have the Google facts. I can Google it too, just like you can.
Tell them.
I tell them.
I tell you what.
Yeah, we're ready to go back to the moon. I mean, it's weird that it's been 50 years and we haven't really gone back, and then we lost all the, I'm not saying the conspiracies are right. I'm just saying conspiracies are there for a reason, for us to conspire. And I'm gonna conspire to end this episode of Hot News. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this Monday edition of Hot News. We're gonna see you for the rest of the week. We try to get them out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if you could hit that like button, get us promoted in the algorithm, get subscribed, stay up to date on all of our news, and also maybe consider checking out our UFD Tech channel where we cover tech stuff. Get subscribed over there. Hit the notification bell. We need your views over there as well. Watch Hot News, watch UFD Tech. It's a win for everybody. Also, don't forget to check out our website, UFD Deals. Maybe also consider becoming a patron, where we try to upload our UFD Tech videos earlier than normal with no ads. Hot News is a little weird because we do it all the same day, and it's complicated, but you get early access to UFD Tech videos. So that's kind of cool. I'm gonna end that there. I'm Brett. See you in the next one.